What's up, guys? This is Fabio from Serenity, and I'm gonna join the D-Mail Galaxy show on Friday the 19th at 8 p.m. Irish time. So check it out and stay safe and listen to melodies.
Tonight we are going to travel to a country we haven't before, Austria, and to the Night's Kings and more. And we have a special guest, Serenity. So we have Fabio.
Ciao,
Good
Fabio.
evening, everyone. Ciao, please. I'm looking forward.
The first thing I want to ask is about something that's supposed to be happening right now, but obviously because of the current situation, it's not. So Symphonic Power Alliance. So it was scheduled, was it today, yesterday? So was it rescheduled or what is happening with it?
Well, as you know, with the current situation, we are not allowed to tour like every other band. And this is already a rescheduled tour from April back then.
Oh.
And so it's already the second time. And yeah, what can we say? Any band, no band is allowed to tour at the moment. It's not possible, obviously, because of the pandemic. And so we are obviously looking forward to reschedule our tour for 2022 and being live again, basically doing exactly the same venues again. So just gotta be patient until next year.
Yeah. And when was your last show, gig? Anything you did live?
That was the tour with Rage and Savage Messiah and Vanish that we did last February. So it's a year ago.
Oh, wow. Yeah, 1 year.
Yeah, I think the last show was, I think in a few days, or I think today, could it be? We have to check. Today, 1 year ago exactly.
Wow.
Something like that. Around the 20th of February, I think we have been on the road for 20 days or so.
And which country did you visit then?
We have been all over Europe, and Germany, Austria, Czech Republic, UK, Spain, France. We had to cancel the show in Colmar back then because of also of a storm.
Oh.
And we were not able to travel back to the continent, and there is also a little bit of a crazy side story. Maybe we can talk about it, because the reasons that we didn't play that show in France are a little bit awkward.
Okay.
And
We would love to hear it, of course.
yeah, of course we can talk about it, but I want to have Georg as well.
Okay. Yeah, we will remind you.
So yeah, we basically played the usual tour schedule like we always do, and that was the last thing we did. And actually it was exactly during the release of The Last Night.
But that was like a full tour. It wasn't cancelled at the end or anything. You finished it and then the shit happened.
Yes, because there was still no lockdown, nothing. So there was pretty full, actually, a very intense tour for us. And we just released a new album back then, so that was pretty exciting, and no one would have ever expected that this thing happens. I do remember during the first shows hearing about this coronavirus around, and I do remember while playing the show in Milan, 14th of February last year, already knowing about the first cases in Italy.
Okay.
Right the day after, I got severely sick, and I think Gabi there remembers, because she's online. She brought me to the pharmacy because I was very, 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 very bad, and she remembers that. And yeah, I don't know what I had.
Okay.
I can tell you that I was knocked out for 2 weeks, and
Oh, wow.
I had to play half of the tour. I had to play out half of the tour in this condition, and it was terrible.
Oh my God.
no voice at all,
You poor thing. Wow.
absolutely a zombie. Never had something like that. So it took me a month to recover.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, especially because you were also working during that time. Like, if you
Yeah.
wouldn't, maybe that would have been faster recovering.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, playing shows like that was also a terrible season. Yeah, believe me, I also can't imagine how I survived this. I mean, of course, you cannot,
Okay.
but I'm here.
Yes.
yes, you are here with us.
After a year. Yeah, look, she just wrote that she remembers.
Still alive. Still alive.
No, I can also say
Still
you fought brave and you won.
Yes.
I somehow won, yeah, but I had some doubts at one point, I can tell you.
Yeah, maybe also maybe. Okay. So Fabio, can you tell me about the Austrian metal scene? Even you are Italian, but you live in Austria and you work for an Austrian metal band. Can you tell me how is this Austrian scene? Is big one or you know?
Well, I cannot say it's a big or a large scene because the country is rather small, but there is definitely an active scene.
Mhm.
And I definitely appreciate the bands that we have around. I am personally also, let's say, I would say responsible, or I feel responsible for some young acts that are around me. I take care of them and try to produce them and launch them. So I'm really taking care of what's going on around. But we obviously have bands like Visions of Atlantis or Dragony, our friends, and the bands that are definitely pretty interesting, and they exist even before us. And there is, I mean, don't forget Napalm Records is from Austria,
Yes, of course.
our label, and therefore we have to mention that because they were responsible for making the scene, the local scene, and then international pretty noticeable abroad, I would say.
Yeah. So you have big venues in Austria, big venues for metal concerts.
Well, not the biggest venues, and definitely not the most quoted venues, but we have some. Yeah, when we play at home here, we play in Wörgl, in this town where we are rehearsing, and there is an incredible and cool venue called Comma where we always play, and we always feel warmly welcome there. So we definitely play our first or last show of the tour there.
Okay.
And we always have one of the best crowds. And definitely I would say Vienna, because it's the capital city and we always have sold out shows, or mostly sold out shows. And of course we are talking about capacity 500 and so we are not filling arenas like other local artists.
Yes.
But we just must not forget it's symphonic metal, right?
Yeah.
So but we are pretty proud of doing that in our own country. And I have to mention again that we have an Austrian Music Award in our repertoire. So I think something has happened in the scene because of us as well.
You do something right. So when so when all this finish, Fabio, do you think all be going back as before, or will be with restrictions?
Definitely nothing will go back as before. There will be these restrictions, and most probably there will be a certification of a vaccine needed for shows. I assume, I'm not no one to say that, but I assume that. I think it's pretty reasonable, and this is gonna happen in every sector of our life, and especially in music, because we have crowds and there is no social distancing there.
Yeah. So if you want to socialize, you have to have the vaccine certification.
Yeah, exactly. but you know, no one wants that. But
Yes.
what to do? Do we want to have shows again?
Mhm.
Then
Or to travel.
no alternative. Yeah, but I challenge anyone to offer alternatives.
Actually, Ireland, I was just watching some show. They had idea with like air bubbles, like huge bubbles. You know,
Yeah, I
yeah.
heard.
you can roll. So put, you know,
I
like
heard
a group of 3 in the huge bubble, and like have a
The
public.
bat in a huge bubble also.
Yeah,
Maybe we want to do a Serenity bubble show.
But
What?
the worst is more spit into a bubble and then it explodes and boom everywhere. Plastic,
Yeah, exactly.
like, oops.
And then we have to lock down the entire venue, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And how many bubbles can fit in one venue with 500 people?
So for this reason, you will need a bigger venue.
Yes.
Yeah, we play arenas because of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it's our occasion to fill in an Olympic stadium or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that will be possible then.
Definitely, yes.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Interesting. So let's go to your stuff. So you have a recording studio in Silz. So I'm wondering, can you tell us more about the studio and with whom you had the pleasure to work with?
Well, I used to, as some people know, but I can repeat it. I used to live in Italy, and managing a recording studio with my ex studio partner, and this was pretty cool experience for my career. And when I moved to Austria, I didn't expect I would continue on this side. I wanted to concentrate more on coaching, music coaching, but I then let's say I missed it so much to produce and record, and so I slowly gathered equipment, and I really wanted to open a studio again. So I founded a company recently. It's not so long ago, actually, and it's called Synonym of Sound, and we are still expanding. Obviously, the first lockdown made us in a standby status, let's say. So we are not ready to launch completely, I would say. But I had the pleasure to take care of recordings of our Serenity stuff, especially for the last night, but also for Lionheart. I did other stuff, and I could produce my other side project, Perta, and I worked with for workings, and I produced some local acts that I'm about to launch, and I recorded my parts for the Vivaldi metal project, and yeah, everything on the making. So I think when everything can go back to normality, I can finally properly launch the company and the studio like I want. My concept is to produce and launch, let's say, local acts or amateur bands who want to be professional.
Amazing.
So
Amazing.
it's not like the typical recording or production situation where you just record the artist and goodbye. But I really take care from the pre-production to the end, or even to reaching out to labels and help the bands, let's say, making their dreams concrete.
So that's interesting. And what local bands do you like produce? Can you name a few?
Yeah, sure. Well, I lately completed the recording of a metalcore band called Feeding the Wolves. They are from here, and they just completed their album, and I'm really proud and excited about that. So we are ready now to reach out for labels.
Nice.
And only the lockdown unfortunately stopped us, but I am really proud also of Auditory Message, an alternative rock band from here, made of young guys, literally young guys, like teenies. And I love the guys, and we work great together. We already recorded their first demo back in 2018-17, and now we started with the production of the full album. But obviously after the drum recording there was another hard lockdown, and so we could not continue.
Yeah.
But we are fully prepared and looking forward to go on.
Interesting.
And these are the main two projects I could complete from the local scene before all this pandemic went on. And I have definitely other projects in the making. Actually, the first recording I did in the new studio was my side project Berta, where I did the full production, and now I have another interesting project which I will reveal with calm in due time, and we are also working on that. So I'm always active, despite the lockdowns.
It's interesting. And how do you pick like the bands you are going to produce, or they come with the proposition? I'm wondering, because it's so many bands you can produce and so on.
Well, let's say I really like to, since I'm a music coach, so I'm coaching people. Most of the bands or the artists that I'm coaching have bands then. And I saw the potential on many of the artists I'm coaching. And in the best of the cases, this goes into their band or into their project, and it becomes a production. Sometimes we even started a project out of just simple coaching. It's not like the bands are reaching out on me terribly or I'm full of requests or something, but I try to do the other way around. I'm really trying to scout and see what catches my attention.
It's like beautiful to pass the Serenity knowledge that you have in this kind of big band and passing it on younger and people with potential. It's a very cool thing.
Exactly. It's not only one side of the business. So it's not only the coaching, it's not only the production, it's not only the recordings or the engineering, the technical, but it's all together. Plus the knowledge that I earned during the years in the business, even before Serenity, with my previous band Pathos Ray. And you earn experience. You don't want the younger bands especially, or the bands with less experience, to do the same mistakes you did, and you want to warn them about some certain things about the business that they cannot know, and therefore there is a path from being just a simple student, let's say, to releasing your record.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks. I really believe in this concept.
For sure. Actually, I'm wondering, your biography said that you started studying and playing music at the age of 4. So what was it? What did you start with?
Piano.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't even at the kindergarten and I already started piano.
Whoa.
And was that your parents' idea, or how did that came to be?
It was my mother's idea, because my sisters older than me, they were already studying music at that time. And we had a piano at home because one of my sisters was already studying. And my mom just wanted to try. Why not trying also with him, although he's young, but maybe it works. And it actually worked. They realized I had a so-called absolute pitch. And I didn't need to study anything, but I remembered everything from the lessons. So I was really lazy. I wasn't studying anything during the week. I just remembered everything from the previous weeks.
Wow.
And it started like that. It was sort of imposition / I have to do it, because at that age you can't really decide for yourself, right?
Yes.
And my musical environment was the best I could ask for, because my mom was really keen on having us three studying music in any sort of way, and then I just continued from that.
But like when you were able to choose for yourself, you didn't decide to rebel against it and do something else. So you were just continuing on.
Yeah, actually, I had a short crisis. At the age of 9, at the age of 9, I was obviously more interested in football,
Of course.
and just playing music wasn't anything that
Yeah.
was interesting me like autonomously. So I decided to stop for a year,
Mm.
and then when I started again a year later was absolutely on my own. Like, I asked my mom, please, I want to start again. And so then I started with percussions, and I did a long time in the percussion orchestra downtown. Took all my certifications and exams, and yeah, then from there it developed because I really wanted that.
It's amazing.
It's like a wonder kid, like everything, percussions, piano. It's like,
Yeah, then
and
I
now
started with guitar as well, and then I picked up the bass once I heard Red Hot Chili Peppers. So yeah, it just went from there.
You were good at football.
I was good, actually. I was playing. I was a goalkeeper, and then at one point, in around the age of 12, 13, around that age, I had to choose. My mom said, either you do football or music, because we cannot afford both. And my mom was a widow, so she was alone with 3 kids,
Okay.
and she had to manage everything for herself. So
Oh, you played for any team, football team?
I was playing for a local team. Yeah.
Local. Mhm.
A local team, yeah, and I was pretty good at it, and I really missed it somehow. Mhm. But I also saw the importance of concentrating on music,
Okay.
because in the end, it has always been my only dream job, aside from football.
oh, what I'm wondering two things. One is, why did you become like a bass player, and why did like music win over football? What's the particular reason?
So I start with the second of your questions. Why did I? Why? How did music win? Well, it's easy. I understood, especially on the local, on amateur football, that there was, unfortunately, like in other fields, but it was not really fair. At this age, the young players shouldn't be treated that way. Like, you
Yeah.
play only if you are the son of that
Oh, okay.
person, and there is a lot of nepotism in this business as well. Although we were really young, and I had the feeling that with music I would have had way more chances to make it, if I'm good for real, or if I try to learn for it and study for it, and not just because I am that or that person. So unfortunately, reality then brings you back to life, or to the ground, when you are older, because then you understand also music has these sides like every other field. But when you are young, you have to understand. So my mom really spoke clearly with me and said, listen, if you don't want to feel like that, because sometimes you cannot play because that or that reason, I'm sure with music you will find your way. You can do your things, and no one has to decide for you. And this won over it. I understood it pretty clearly. I put aside football. It's just my biggest passion aside from music. It still is really huge for me when I need to disconnect from this business, and I still follow a lot. I'm a big Juventus supporter.
I wanted to ask that. Okay.
I was first, and yeah, it's there, and it's still big for me. But from that time on, music has only been my only dream job. So I really couldn't imagine any other type of job. Let's say.
This is one of the very few kids who get to do their dream job when they're so young. They have this goal and they just go for it. So usually people don't know what is going to happen.
I knew already. I knew already. When I think around 7 or 8 year old, I watched a concert on VHS with 250,000 people. This was the Oasis Napworth VHS there and then that my sister gifted me for Christmas. And when I watched that and I saw these people and I said I want to be on stage. That was it. That was my dream job, and I did it.
Amazing.
I could make it. And why did I pick up bass? As I said before, one day I just came across the album Blood Sugar Sex Magic from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And as almost every student of mine knows, as soon as I started to hear these bass lines, I just said, I have to get a bass. I have to be able to play this. And so that's how it went on bass.
Interesting, but in the end, you didn't end up in a rock band, but like in power metal. So.
Well, actually, I started with rock bands, and that was an obvious evolution because when I was, let's say, 10, 12, I wasn't, let's say, imagining I could play some metal music. I wasn't still ready for it, I suppose. And then after that, I slowly got into heavier music. And then I started to play, I founded my first metal bands also when I was still young, and always in between prog and power metal.
So what would be your favorite musical instrument?
Difficult. It's really a difficult question. I don't think I can answer to that because I'm really into anything that I can play or singing. So
is it like choosing between who's your favorite child?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really say that. You would be unfair to the other, right?
Yeah.
So it depends on the day. Also, maybe today I was playing bass and I cannot stop with that, and then you're singing, or I cannot stop singing, and then I pick up some drumsticks and play some drums, and I love it, and I cannot really answer. I love every side of music, every instrument, everything I can play, and if I cannot play, I want to try.
Is there any instrument that you would like to learn that you don't use yet?
At the moment, I'm trying to practice harp on my own. I just started literally. So.
And after you come to Ireland to play harp, because here harp is
maybe, but I don't want to be criticized. No, I would love one day to be able to get myself a Chapman stick. It's more related to the bass. But it's not really a bass. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Chapman stick.
Not really.
That would be one of my dreams. It's a evil instrument or a devil instrument. It's really complicated. You mainly play it with tapping technique.
Okay.
And you have it in different sizes and different scales and stringing. It's a really an incredibly fascinating instrument. Never seen it. Okay. No. For example, if you know Steven Wilson, and he has a bass player in his lineup, Nick Baggs, who is playing Chapman stick live as well.
Have to check this out. It's interesting.
Yeah, it exists in different scales and different sizes. There is even a Chapman guitar, and I always had it in my head. I really want to get it one day. I need to play that thing. But I don't know if I'm good enough for that, but I want to try.
Surely, it seems cool, and you can always like put a mask on things so that no one recognizes and play somewhere.
True, or I just don't have to show myself. Just
Yes.
record something.
Yeah,
No one will know that it's me. I can always say it's a student, right?
Yeah.
True.
Good stuff. So, Fabio, can you tell me about the Vivaldi project? Few words.
Yeah. So everything started back then, I think in 2015/16. And this Maestro Misteria got in touch with me and our studio back then when I was still living in Italy. And first I was contacted for a guest appearance, and then we ended up mixing the album as well. And this was really an incredible experience because so many musicians were involved.
Yes.
And it was an extremely difficult but exciting job to put all these musicians together in mixing projects. You might imagine how many different formats and different parts and different files, and it was really one of the coolest and most challenging experience ever in the studio. And that was amazing, because even some of my favorite artists took part in this opera, and that was the first chapter. And then this was exactly the period I was moving to Austria. So the end of the mastering and the mixing, and then the mastering was then completed my studio partner. And then the album came out, and it was really cool and really appreciated. And then the guys, I think, could do something live as well, and I was really happy for that. And then actually during the first lockdown, I was contacted again to record for the second.
Okay.
So I think my studio partner will do the mix again back at our former studio, and I did my recordings actually from my living room. I wasn't even allowed to move from the living room because of the lockdown. And so I recorded my part from my living room. And
how many people around?
For the second, I think they are still announcing guests. It's not done yet. For the first, with the choir and the orchestra and so on, I think we are talking in a range about over 100 people, 120 or so. Yeah, that was insane. I mean, I wasn't the one who had to select, and we just got all the files.
Yeah.
And
I see it was Fabio Leone, or is on the second?
I think he's not in the record.
Fabio, Nicoletta, Celine from Calibia.
I think Nicoletta was there, and I think she has been also live.
Ah, yeah. And Black Room.
Yes. Then who was? I mean, 120 people. I can't remember all the guests. Pretty difficult. But it was great. It was really awesome. Really awesome.
Yeah, this is a big work.
It's a big project, and I fully respect Maestro in having all this thing under control. It's really, I really admire him.
Tell us about Tyrolean food.
Tyrolean food. Okay, I'm the wrongest person ever to tell this. There are a lot of specialties around here. Maybe not what I'm used to, but there are a lot of different dishes. I mean, I could quote some of them, like knödel.
No,
I don't
it's from potatoes, right?
They are they look like meatballs, but they're not made of meat.
Okay.
And they're made of bread powder, and you can have them with spinach or with speck. And what can I quote? I mean, everyone knows Krapfen.
What's Kapfen?
How would I be able to explain that? It's something sweet.
Oh, okay.
It's a fried sweet, very heavy bomb, caloric bomb,
Okay.
filled with it could be with jam, with apricot jam, or with vanilla cream.
Like donut?
It's something like donut, yes, without a hole.
Okay.
Yes,
We know schnitzel, of course.
but that's not Tyrolean.
It's German.
No,
It's a Viennese thing. It's a
Austrian.
Viennese. It's Austria, but it's the other side of Austria. It's like 5 hours from here.
They donated Tirol.
Now, they obviously, of course, but since you asked for Tyrolean dishes,
Okay.
I don't want to be killed at the end of the evening.
But you moved to Austria and so on. So when you went to the shop, what kind of food you were like, it's so different?
Well, everything is so different. Everything. I still sometimes struggle to get used to the traditions. It's as an Italian guy, I'm differently used, let's say. Of course, the first thing you notice as an Italian guy is the corridor of the pasta. It's way smaller. But this is something I was badly used, obviously. And well, what else can I quote? Of course, you have way more types of wurst, which in Italy we don't have, let's say. And it's an interesting question. Maybe tomorrow when I go to the supermarket, I have to I have to take more.
Yes.
Yeah,
I have to
exactly.
think about it. These are unconscious things that you don't really think about.
So you're still getting used.
I will. Look at that. We have a question. my lovely student Ivan is asking me what I miss about Italy.
Pizza.
It's difficult. It's difficult because I miss everything about my country.
Which part of Italy? Turin.
Which part? I'm from the north and east. I was born in the north and east,
Okay.
but my family is from Sicily.
Oh.
Nice.
Close to this.
Do you know the Adriatic coast?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm from the north and east over there, up there. And I miss the climate, I miss the people, I miss the food. Obviously, that are my traditions that I grew up with. And I miss the culture in sort of lifestyle. I miss my family. And especially now that I cannot even visit them. And it's a mixture of things that you find yourself missing when you are not there. You don't ask yourself about it until you leave.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a mixture of
Exactly.
things, friends, family, culture, food, lifestyle.
I have the same, like I moved to Ireland, like from the Netherlands to Ireland, and it's like I used to complain about the Netherlands and now I'm complaining about Ireland. It's like,
It's physiological, isn't it?
yeah, it's like,
It's always about that. because when you're moving from your country, you don't see things, and when you're away, you see them again.
Yeah.
We are opened.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
How long have you been to Austria?
It's nearly 5 years.
Oh. Good, you are new in Ireland.
Only 2 years. 3
Yeah.
years, Ireland. 3.
Really? Okay.
I'm 20.
So there is no Irish person here, right?
No.
No.
I figured.
How long?
So I'm originally from Lithuania. I don't
Okay.
actually really miss it, just few little things. But I still complain
still.
about Ireland.
How long have you been?
Yeah. I've been here, I don't know, 17 years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And me 20.
Time. 20.
Yes.
He's nearly native.
Congrats.
Yes.
Yeah, basically native. And I bet you miss Greece as well, huh?
Yes, yes. Sometimes you miss Greece, but when you go there, you say, "Oh, like like no day passed." all is the same.
It's, let's say we go to our original countries for vacation,
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. We are tourists.
if we can. If we can. We are tourists, yes.
Tourists on
I
the
also
actually,
appreciate tourism.
Going back to the food subject, you mentioned one of your hobbies is cooking. So I'm wondering, what do you cook at home? Do you cook your Italian dishes, or do you cook this country's dishes as well?
Well, I'm definitely not cooking Tyrolean food myself. I wouldn't dare. And I really like to cook my traditions, so I cook definitely Italian dishes. But I also like to fusion. So
Mhm.
I really
Oh,
try to melt also the Maghreb culture and the Middle Eastern
Mhm.
flavors and spices into dishes like couscous or quinoa.
Mhm.
And I really like first dishes, so I'm really specialized, let's say, on this and risotto and pastas and of course. And yeah, those are the things I cook the most, and I try to be inspired. So I don't cook always like a certain recipe, but I just go with the flow.
yeah.
What I'm inspired for, like with music.
Mhm.
So it's from the heart.
Yeah, exactly.
Food is an art also. So.
It
We
is.
have another question.
Okay, which are your favorite to perform at? If we are talking about productions or so full tours, obviously I prefer gigs because it's our own production. So we go with our own crew and everything. But obviously, there have been some festivals that have hosted us properly, where we could perform properly without any technical inconvenience, and where the crew was prepared to host us properly. So it depends, let's say. Generally, I'm more into simple gigs or tours from our side. And then when the festival is really, let's say, prepared, and you are really you are worth, like you feel like you're definitely considered and not just a number in their slot, then obviously also the festival is something exciting, obviously.
Actually, talking about festivals, I wonder. Yeah, you've been there, so I don't know if you can repeat something on the other side.
Masters of Rock,
Yes.
great festival. Yeah, definitely. We
Great
always had
We
fun
were
playing
there.
there. Yeah, we have played. You also have a T-shirt, right?
Yes.
Because I also have the same, but in white.
Nice.
I think we played there 3 times.
Okay, nice.
I think it was 2014, 17 and 19. And it has always been really cool.
Great
A lot
festival.
of people. Great festival, yeah. Great people. The Czech crowd is amazing for us.
For us, Czech beer also. Beer.
For you. Not for
And
me.
how do you find the Czech food?
I really like it. I do not recall the names of the recipes because when you're on tour, you don't really have the time to get in touch with the specific names and explanations of how the dishes are done. But I was really always amazed.
Mm.
Definitely.
And do you have an interesting memory from the festival, Masters of Rock?
Of course. I mean, I have to quote the fact that 2 times out of these 3 that we played, I could share the stage with my all-time favorite band, Dream Theater.
Mm.
So, how to say, I left a piece of my heart on stage
Great song.
because
Dream Theater.
you know when you can make your dream true. You remember the little Fabio, 8 years old. I want to be on stage, and then you're just, let's say, sharing the stage with your all-time favorite band in front of so many people. You have to ask yourself, I think I'm here and I really still love it. You know what I mean? And so these moments while sharing the stage and behind my back having, I don't know, Mike Mangini drum set just close to my equipment, and like somehow being even sorry to steal the space, and being super excited about their set, although we still didn't play our set. And yeah, or I do remember the first time in 2014 having the warm-up container next to Mr. John Mayang, who is one of my heroes. It's unpayable.
So, that's your the Dream Theater. So, can you tell me your influences? Except Dream Theater.
Yes, as I said before, first bass-wise, big influence was Red Hot Chili Peppers, obviously. And then I developed also other styles, and I started to listen to other stuff.